It's funny, every time I was wanting to find Quinn, if I was like, oh, I need to find my boy Quinn, need to find where he's at to chat with him. If I ever couldn't find him for whatever reason, I would just go to the Vape Nation, which is like the smokers section outside the venue itself, and Quinn would always be there in the Vape Nation. He's pretty big on that. So that was weird because every time I went out there, there was a lot of like the same people, but there was also like always a couple of new vapors out there, and I never thought like going to the LAN I'd have to like put my signature on a vape, but there you go. Of all the things that surprised me, that was definitely up there pretty high on the list, is signing vapes with with the good old Johnny Boy signature. Signing vapes, that was weird. You got to touch Quinn's vape? Yeah, same. He like offered it to me several times. So yeah, that was weird. As far as oh, do I want to tell the Greasy story right now? Should I save it for later? Yeah, I'll save it for later. Let's get ahead and watch Kings vs Flying Dutchman right here. They've cut this pretty weird. I don't know why they've cut it like halfway into the analysis.
It is time to start with match number 3 of the RLCS International Final. With the commentary of this next match, it's going to be Leaf and Lawler. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, Axitas. I am here with my boy. That's
TTTO next week, probably.
What's up, you guys? What's up?
Was I disappointed with F3's performance against IBP? Yeah, for sure.
Like the Sad Junior and the rest of these guys, very, very characteristic to be comfortable in their play. They're having a good time.
Yeah,
Till next Northern Gaming match. Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
These guys have always been at the top of the PR.
Any fashion analysis? Well, we got like Bill and Bob right here, just mirroring each other perfectly. What am I drinking? I got some Pepsi right here. This is now sponsored by Pepsi, the stream.
And it shows every time they get beaten down, they come back even stronger. They're like the Super Saiyans. It's crazy.
And that's what I like to see. I love to see the drive like that. A lot of people don't realize how much work has to go into being a top team like this. I mean, these guys are in the top.
Latch was a bit naughty to tweet it, which is why he did delete it in the end. Also, he didn't go to the LAN, sadly, but you assume it was a big experience. LAN was a huge experience. What did Latch tweet? Hold up.
We're going to see Kings of Urban versus the Flying Dutchman.
I cannot wait to watch how this one goes out.
What was Latch naughty for tweeting?
The Flying Dutchman team has been putting in. I have no idea how it's going to happen, and I'm going to stick to Carpet's idea. No prediction. That's not happening.
All right, we're going to do it. I love
What? No predictions? What is that? Come on. Get your predictions out there. And obviously, the correct prediction is to predict that Kings of Urban would win. That is the correct prediction right here, unless you have some wizard hat like Gibbs. But TFD were doing okay in scrims. I think they either went even or won all their scrims in the days before, in the run-up to this. Before coming out to LA, TFD were not doing well. They were playing very badly. In fact, they were like dropping games to teams that nobody had ever heard of before. And Kings were #1 team in NA. So going into this, Kings were the favorites for sure. Like the head-to-head matchup, I think Kings and the TFT had played once before, and TFT did win, but between then and now, that was a long time. So Kings were definitely expected to win, but mostly because Kings smashed Northern Gaming in scrims the day before this game happened. Absolutely smashed them. Just wiped the floor with Northern Gaming. Some people pick for the favorites for the whole thing. So yeah, I think Kings 3-1 was probably what most people expected, including me. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
We get down to game #1 of this series. Kings of Urban versus the Flying Dutchman. It's going to be right off the kickoff. Both teams, of course, going to feel each other out. That's always how it goes. Early goals. Always going to feel good as well, too. But a pinch coming out there. Nice pinch on the
Oh my
that
goodness.
infusion.
Surprising that nobody's up for that for KOU. I think Jacob was ready to the side, waiting for a pass, and then Sad Jr. and Fireburner both misread the bounce. Got too close to it. Jacob, like, going into this event, I was, really expecting big things from him. I thought that he was going to be a big player for Kings, and a big player for the whole LAN. And overall, Jacob, he did do good things. There was a lot of good things coming out from Jacob. But I think Kings of Urban they were losing games that they didn't really know why they were losing. And we're going to see that moving forward in this series.
That's going to roll up front, though. If Dobu doesn't get a touch, he does. They're trying to break forward to the midfield. No real actual plays.
Did I talk with the players about how they analyze their games and how they work with their coaches? Well, I mean, most of the players are very new to the concept of coaching in esports, so I've talked to a few of them about it, tried to explain my thoughts on the topic and how I think they can benefit. Biggest VOD nerd? I know that TFD like to watch VODs together, and so do IBP. I know that Overzero and Chronovia watch my VODs, or at least Overzero told me that. So they're probably two teams that work the hardest at reviewing VODs together. And you know, they showed up pretty big at the LAN, so is that just a coincidence? Yet to be seen. It's a pretty small sample size. That's a good boost steal, I believe. Let's see. Did Dogu get that boost? Looks like it. I think Jacob just straight whiffed that, actually. And Fireburner, with that shot that Fireburner just did, is like a LAN shot. That kind of shot, just straight at the goalkeeper. I think people were doing that a lot more at the LAN than they would online. Like just passing it straight to the goalkeeper at slow speed. Do I think Pashy will join Flipside? Absolutely not. Fantastic shot from Vogan. Not gonna lie, like, out of all the stories that the casters and the analysts and the production were trying to tell at the LAN, because obviously telling a story about every team is a big aspect of the LAN. It's very important to tell a story so that the new players can be educated about the teams, and the fans can feel more of an emotional connection to the journey that these players have gone on. But out of all the stories and about all the teams that they wrote a story about and that they were telling a story about, the story about the Flying Dutchman, I just was not a fan of it at all. I'll explain why. Yeah, I'll explain why. So, to me, from what I understand about the Flying Dutchman, is obviously there are 3 Dutch players who met in ranked. This was said multiple times throughout the LAN. They met in ranked with Dogu and Jesse playing together in 2s. And the story I'm about to tell you is the true story, by the way. So Dogu and Jesse teamed up because Jesse, he heard that Dogu was Dutch and he was like, hey, this guy's really good, let's play together. Then they ran into Vogan, who I believe at the time was teamless. And you had Vogan in one team with a random, Dogu and Jesse in the other team, and what I've heard is that Jesse and Dogu just smashed Vogan and the random, which is not massively surprising because Dogu and Jesse are good players. Vogan's also a good player, but if he's with a random, he's never going to be the favorite in that matchup. So Jesse told me that they smashed him, and then after that, Vogan was like, "Wow, these guys are legit. Like, maybe it's worth playing some 3s with them," and that's when they grabbed, partied up and played some 3s. But for some reason, the story that the casters were telling, and the story that Vogan told in his interview, was that he won that game, that he beat Jesse and Dogu, and then he felt, nah, they showed promise, I beat them because I'm Vogan, and they didn't really have a chance. And people were like, he told that in his interview on stage, and everybody's like, oh, that's really funny, Vogan, he, took them under his wing. But as far as I know, that is not the case. Dogu and Jesse actually beat the guy, and that's when they started playing. So I don't know. That's up in the air still, much like the ball. And by the way, the reason that I'm talking about this right now is because I know that this game's going to be reset. I was at the event, and this game's going to get reset because it's currently a 2v3. Dogu's computer crashed. It is a draw, but the Flying Dutchmen were ahead by 1 before this reset. But yeah, there we go. So everybody's going to leave and reset the game. But besides that, Vogan in all his interviews is talking about how he's the tactical mastermind, he's the strategy guy, he leads the attack. These are all things that he said, and that, when they're down on stage, he's the one who, gets up their emotions and stuff. And it's, from what I can see, some of that was probably true, but I don't think all of it's true at all. From what I can see, Jesse's the hype guy, the guy who's he's the LAN boy of the team, who's getting hyphy on stage. And Vogan's a much more reserved and quiet personality. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he's the emotional morale booster of the team.
How capable they were in scrims. A little bit different experience.
And this whole thing about leading the attack, what on earth? Like, I heard Vogan talking to Jamesbot and Gibbs on DFH locker room about their offensive strategy. I was like, come on. I've seen enough Flying Dutchman games to know that's absolute nonsense. Like their defensive strategy as well is very rigid and exploitable. That's why they never do well against teams like Flipside and Northern. It's because Northern and Flipside just hit the backboard really high, and then the Flying Dutchmen are all sitting in goal like, well, this sucks. And you know, Vogan did teach Jesse and Dogu a lot, I'm sure, because Jesse and Dogu are very new to threes compared to Vogan is when they, you know, grouped up together. So he probably taught them a lot, but I don't know. They've got a strategy that will take them so far, but it's not going to take them to a LAN win. It's never going to take them to a LAN win. Their playstyle's far too rigid. It's good to have structure, but you've got to have a little bit more unpredictability about you. And yeah, the fact that the casters embraced like the whole Vogan story, like Vogan is God story, and Jesse and Dogu are just like being carried. I didn't like that at all, because Jesse and Dogu are they're really good players as well. Should have definitely been a much more team-oriented story, in my opinion. But yeah, series reset because Dogu's computer disconnected. I believe he's the only player whose computer crashed throughout the whole event. Was Dogu, and it happened twice. Dogu is MVP? Yeah, probably. Good positioning by Fireburner. Pretty bread and butter goal from KOU. I should join Flipside. Yeah, why not? One thing that Lawler and the other RLCS casters do very well is they bring hype from the analysis position, which is something I try to do when I'm casting, but it's a lot harder to do online because Skype sucks, for one. This pass is sick, by the way. That's a great goal. Just fantastic goal. Vogan's completely flat-footed. He has no idea what to do. Great pass from Sad Jr. But what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, like bringing the hype from the analysis position, just getting your emotion through the microphone when there's nothing to color cast. That's really important. What up, Jesse? I'm just done talking about TFT storyline and how much I hate it, which I'm sure you agree with. So Sad Jr., I think he was trying to bump into Dogu right there, but he ended up just saving it. But how do Kings play out this game? Let's see. I actually don't remember much. That really should have been a goal. Do I know anything about the system that the line was played on? Nope. But yeah, it's funny, I was in the Players Lounge on, I believe it was Thursday. I'm going to say it was Thursday. Yeah, I believe it was Thursday that I was in the Players Lounge in the morning for breakfast. And I went in and I saw like Jesse, Polypol, Vogan all sitting together. And there was this other guy who I thought was Moses. And I just asked the guys, I was like, hey, is Dogu arrived yet? Because Dogu was late. He was a day late. He like missed his flight or something, or his flight got cancelled. Something happened and Dogu was a day late. And I was like, has Dogu arrived yet? And they were like, yeah, he's right there. They pointed at him and I was like, whoa, that's not Moses? Like, I thought Dogu and Moses had a resemblance. I'm not sure if anybody else agreed with that. But yeah, Dogu and Moses had a uncanny resemblance. What is Sad Jr. doing here? I will never know. Why does he back off all the way? I'm actually gonna like try and get inside. Like, look at this play. Like, we have Jacob out the game, Sad and Fireburner. Like, Fireburner's like pretty much the last line of defense, and Sad Jr. should be making a challenge. But he just like runs away. Sad Jr.'s just like, nah, challenge? Why would I do that? and he just like runs all the way back, gives himself 0% chance of saving that shot, because Jesse's a great ones player, willing to dribble and control the ball. Massive misplay by Sad, not to make a challenge right there. Jesse was definitely one of the players at LAN who was willing to dribble more than your average player, which is good to see. Another player who did that was overZero. Surprisingly few dribbles coming out of Flipside Tactics. And also Maestro. Maestro's a very dribbly player. And Pashi also. They're all very dribbly in threes. Man, so many like nearly chances for Kings. They could have had, you know, at least 2 or 3 more goals here if their third man was just a little bit more confident moving forward. Uh-oh, Sad Jr. at the back. Look out. Is he going to get it? No, not quite. Hey, little fuck, how you doing, man? How do I feel about Quentin Lovedale single-handedly disbanding Mocket EU? What a big experience. That's so cool. That's a good try by Fire. He was trying to like distract or bump Dogu so that Sad could come in for a free hit, but Dogu played it well, jumped early, got over Fire, cleared the ball, got the job done. Dogu did have a pretty good tournament, but he was inconsistent, to say the least. I think Jesse was probably the most consistent player for the Flying Dutchman. In fact, he was definitely the most consistent player for the Flying Dutchman. I've got the goal. I got my hands on the statistics for goals scored at the LAN. I didn't get my hands on the statistics for assists and saves, though. I definitely need to see that. Latch is a better defender than Sad. Yeah, no kidding. This feels like this isn't Fireburner's ball. A weird angle, and yeah, we see Jacob was waiting in the wings. I feel like Jacob could have come in and taken a shot right there if Fireburner didn't cut in front of him. I feel like Fireburner had a very disappointing LAN. All of Kings, you know, didn't play up to their standard, but Fireburner had out of all of Kings, I think he was the player who underperformed the most. You know, I'm not saying that to trash him, but look at him. He's just always out of position a tiny little bit. His hits that he's getting, they're not quality hits because he just inches too far forward. And that's going to happen a lot. Look at this pressure that Kings are under is off the back of that really weak hit by Fire. Like this right here. This is the problem. Like when this ball comes out like that, what is Fireburner doing here? He needs to be in a position where he can attack the ball, not where he has to back it up and then poke it. That position's just completely wrong. And the reason is, like, the best way to understand where you should be is if we take a look at this play as it develops. Sad Jr. takes the ball forward, good win. Now we see Sad Jr. is going for a hit here. And Sad Jr.'s got a plan of what he wants to do. What does Sad want to do? Well, he probably wants to center the ball high over the middle of the Flying Dutchman goal. Good plan. It's something we see Northern Gaming do a lot. But if that plan doesn't materialize, then that means that the Flying Dutchman player, who happens to be Jesse in this play, he's also got a plan. Like if Sad misses, Jesse's plan is going to happen. It's Fireburner's job as the last man back to stop Jesse from doing what he wants to do. Because right now we've got Fireburner and Jacob are both lining up to follow up on Sad Jr.'s hit. You only need one of them to do that. You only need one of them to do that. You don't need both of them to do that. Fireburner being so aggressively positioned and also facing the wrong direction is really what made this goal happen for the Flying Dutchman. Because he should be paying much more attention to what Jesse's doing. Fireburner should not be so concerned with what Sad Jr. is doing. He should be concerned with what Jesse's doing, because there's always going to be two players in a 50-50. And that's really what this is at the end of the day. And if Sad doesn't get his way, Jesse's going to get his way. Bang! Fireburner's out of position. Really not the best hit. And suddenly we have pressure for the Flying Dutchman. And it results in a goal. And it's all from that slight mispositioning from Fire, which, you know, is something that he's usually not he doesn't usually let that happen. Fireburner's, you know, quite good at positioning himself defensively. He's usually at the back, in the right position, you know, intercepting those clears, putting the pressure back on the opponents. But at the LAN, if we watch Fireburners closely, a lot of the time he gets caught out by just inching up a little bit too close, and the ball will go over his head, and he looks silly as a result.
Ready for a play, but Jesse moving this pass. We've seen him do it before. Can he do it again to secure this one? Does at least get it down, and it's going to be a lot harder for Kings of Urban now. As possession handed over, but Jacob out, no one there in time.
So there you go, Flying Dutchman. Game 1. Only 3 players at the LAN could drink. There was Mike, Bipod, Quinn, Remco, Pashi, and Husky. There were 6. Husky was the Exodus sub. Bipod was a Flipside sub. Then you had Mike, Pashi, Quinn, and Remco. They were all 21 or over, which is they were the drinkers, if you will. But no, Marky's 20. He couldn't.
That's not something I'm used to seeing.
Well, you heard Jacob say it himself that they generally have a full rotational situation going on, and they're doing it. And I love
these guys all look so nervous, man.
those demos. They recognize when a demo is appropriate. You mentioned before that they're so good at that.
Actually, you're wrong again, Stoney. Bipod was the oldest at 24. Bipod is 24. Mike's 21. Marky's 20. Cux is 19, I believe. And me, because I'm a player, you know. I'm 25. Have I talked about Mike? Nope. Hey, Gold Ranger, welcome, dude. How does it feel at over 0-0 Jesus, not me? Hey, he's welcome to be. He's welcome to be. How old is Lobdell? 23.
We're going to get down into the game, though. Game number 2. We're going to see if Kings of Urban can pull this one back and get a point for themselves in the series. Flying Dutchman.
How many grandkids have I got? Hopefully 0, dude.
Best of 5.
Sup, bro? You cool? You cool too, Bolt. You cool as well.
Jesse just doing so good moving this ball down the other end. They need to make sure they keep capitalizing on that. They want to create a lot of offensive opportunities. Dogu trying to go for that.
What are my main criticisms for the LAN? What do you mean? Like the production, the casting, the play, the like the venue? What? You need to be more specific. What do you want me to criticize? No, so that's Sad Junior taking it into his hands, but close enough. Close enough, Leaf. Leaf always like nearly gets it right. I love Leaf. Leaf's a great guy. There's something to be said about casters who are just fun to watch Rocket League with, and like I spent a good bit of time like just standing at the side with 2 casters in particular, and those guys are Leaf and Findable. Like they were always down at the. There's a little bit of a, like, I guess the caster balcony had an exit that came out. I came out right underneath the balcony itself, and there's a little bit of floor space there between the balcony and the like main central seating area. And a lot of the time, that's where I was watching games from, just partly because I love to stand, and you know, rather than sit when I'm watching sports. Like I've been to stadiums before to watch football a lot, and you know, you're always on your feet a lot of the time. You only sit down when you're chilling or when nothing much is happening. Like when something hype is going on, you're on your feet, and I feel like that was not happening enough at the LAN. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I was in that area, and Leaf and Carpet were probably the 2 casters who chilled out there the most. Although I did see Wave and Lawler there also. But yeah, Leaf and Carpet, I watched a good bit of Rocket League with them, and that was a lot of fun. They were really, really fun to watch Rocket League with. Although I'm sure like Golden Boy would have been a lot of fun to watch Rocket League with. He was really getting into it, and that's what you need. You need people who are just going to get into it, because it's way more fun if you like properly get into it. Oh, what a pass, by the way. That's a great pass. Shame that it's been obscure. Oh yeah, they got rid of that player cam, so like, no, get rid of it, get rid of it. Bang. Beautiful. Have I thought of getting a standing desk? I have. I feel like it would improve my casting. Did I coach any teams at LAN? Not actually at the LAN, because there's no official coaches allowed backstage or anything. Like, Rocket League's still in its infancy, and until it's a lot more professionally handled, like, I'll just keep my coaching freelance and behind the scenes. Was there something to be criticized? They didn't hire me, I guess. Probably the biggest misplay of the LAN. Like, I say that half in jest and half seriously. It only said Flying Dutchman instead of the Flying Dutchman. Well, I mean, it's just because the Flying Dutchman wouldn't fit. Like, imagine the right here. It would just be not be big. It would be too big for the space. Yeah, of course I'm biased, but I mean, I know how to make things entertaining. And I'll tell you something. There's only one caster at the whole event who lost his voice, and he wasn't casting because it was me. I was getting into the games pretty intensely. But that's just because I've like been at real sports events before, and you just get into it. It's more fun if you just like cheer for every terrible goal, you know? Because that goal could be the difference between a team like moving on or going home. Who was the best kisser at LAN? You cheeky man. Probably Bipod. Probably Bipod. He was a great kisser. His girlfriend's a lucky girl. Johnny's ego could climb Mount Kronovi? I certainly hope so. Who did I cheer for? Flipside IBP? I cheered Flipside against anybody. Flipside are my boys. Flipside are my boys. Doesn't matter who they're against, I'll cheer for Flipside. If I had to change 3 things about the LAN, what would I change? I'd fly out all the players earlier, because me, Mike, Marky, and Cux were there from Monday. Everybody else was only there from Wednesday night, so we had a longer stay than everybody else, and that was awesome. I think all the players being there for longer would have been great. They wouldn't need to be in a super fancy hotel, just like anywhere would do. Like, it's the people who make the LAN, not the location. Although, like, I'm not saying that being at the W wasn't great, because it was insane. You know, I think that place has got to be 5-star. It was nuts. But yeah, get the players there earlier. Maybe even stay after as well. Like, do some post-production stuff, because everybody was really sad to go home and leave each other. It would have been awesome to hang about a little bit, do some post-production stuff with just the players, because it's really exhausting, like hanging out with all the fans and everything. So yeah, just a longer stay, a bigger experience, if you will, would have been nice. I'd say a little bit more flexibility with the casting. I would have changed that. Like, these guys, they know what they're doing. I'll make a little bit of what do you call it? Well, I'm going to preface this by saying that these guys in the production, they know what they're doing. This production was next level, and it was very smooth. So they definitely know what they're doing on this production, and I've got a lot of respect for them, because it's awesome to see them just take an esport in its infancy and go out of their way and think of everything like they did. But if it was me, like, I'm a bit more of a free-flowing, just take it as it comes kind of guy, rather than a plan everything down to the letter kind of guy. And I think that they did plan it down to the letter very well. But I think a little bit more freedom of moving people between the analysis desk and the caster's desk, purely so that James Bot would be I say this purely because I want to see James Bot casting, but also, like, I was about to spoil it, but the players who lost on day 1, some players are done. Their LAN experience as a player, as a contributor to the content, is over on day 1, because every team plays 2 games on day 1, and that means that 2 teams are going home. I feel like those players who are going home, it would have been so cool to, like, just bring them onto the analysis desk just once or twice. Like, people like Jacob, Greasy, Mike, Marky, people like even Pashy, they need to like dig a hole for him to stand in. But you know, he is pretty well spoken in his interview. People like Quinn, Espion, like all these guys are really well spoken individuals. Like Turtle, fantastic interview. It's just 16. They're all like so well spoken guys. And if any two teams are out of the event after day one, I think like roping them onto the analysis desk would have been great. And people like Gibbs, Axel Toss, James, they would be able to like, you know, make them feel comfortable, and they would, you know, I think they would kill it. It would be really interesting, and it would be really cool as well. I'm sure everybody would love to hear that, like some analysis from the players. Just like the fact that they are players validates what they say. Oh wow, what a whiff by Sad. I think he got an aerial hit here which didn't actually hit the ball. It's like one of those aerial hits that you hit it, and then, yeah, he barely hit that. He needed to get it up. Might have Marky changed to the Octane? Probably just to feel good, because he didn't play well against Kings in day 2.
Shot from Jacob almost coming out. A good touch there, but just a little bit too short on that one. Dogan moving up against.
But yeah, I think a little bit more freedom about a little bit more flexibility on who was casting and who was analyzing would have been good. Oh dear, this time Fire with the miss. It's just bad defending coming out of Kings of Urban right here from Sad Jr. and then from Fireburner. It's not what you like to see. Do I think Flipside played well? Yeah, they played quite well. They definitely played well, but they didn't play well enough. But that was two things. Like, yeah, get the players out there longer, a bit more flexibility on who's on what desk. What would the third thing be? I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Look who's caught out again. Fireburner. Far too far up the field. And I pointed this out in game 1. That's what lost in game 1. They just lost the third goal in game 3 for the exact same thing. Fireburner just inching a bit too far up the field. Not the best positioning. Just gets taken out by a very, very basic clear. Hey, yeah, invite OCE. Like, inviting a couple of wildcard teams would have been pretty awesome, not gonna lie. Couple of wildcard teams. But like overall, I'm nitpicking if I'm thinking of things that are wrong with the LAN. It was fantastic. It was fantastic, and it was awesome to actually be there with no obligations or jobs to do. Like for me, it was great because there was a lot of other guys there, obviously players, casters, who had things to do, places to be, and I'm just chilling, you know. I'm just along there for the big experience, so I can't really complain. I'm doing a review of all the games, yep, but not all of them today. I'm just gonna do like 4 today.
Backwards, saves that one just in time, and they remain at 3-0.
All of that despite you see
Fireburner's having a mare. Absolute nightmare for Fireburner. Fireburner just missing the ball. He's just panicking. Massive panic by Fireburner. Why haven't the Koreans taken over the RL scene? Because it's a controller game. Koreans like mouse and keyboard. Did I see Mike's face during the game? Yeah, it was great. Love the emotion. Nice pass. It seems like, to me, this is why I think Jacob is like the best player, not just offline but also online. I mean, not just online but also offline for Kings. He's in the right place at the right time. Sad Jr. is very, very hit or miss, both offline and online. Fireburner online is usually like just reliable. But so far in this series he's been all over the place, and it's a best of 5, so it's difficult to pick yourself up if you know you're playing badly, which I'm sure Fireburner does, because he's been solely to blame for at least 3 goals out of the 7 or so that they've conceded. What was my reaction to the infamous 4-player whiff? Well, I mean, it's on YouTube. You can go look at it. I think Mock was pressured. Of course, every team was pressured. Who turned out to be the player to watch, player to flop? Well, player to flop turned out to be Pashy. He was probably the worst player overall compared to what people thought he would be. Like, Pashy did not perform well. And, he'd be the first one to tell you that. He did not play well at all. And his team was, like, what, 3rd seed going in? Player to watch was definitely Overzero. Everybody was saying that Overzero is going to suck. Also, Lichinio. Lichinio and Overzero a lot of people thought they were just going to be terrible, and they stepped up really big. Really, really big. Nice shot. See, there was 2 defensive whiffs, well, 1 defensive mispositioning and 1 defensive whiff from Fire. It would be 2-all if it wasn't for that. And they would have been tied in game 1 if it wasn't for Fireburner's whiff. Like, I hate to harp on about it, but yeah, Fireburner just not playing well defensively in this series. And, you know, hopefully he can improve in the future. Not sure what that was supposed to be by Sad. He jumped up way too early. Do I think of the grand final as best of 9? It would have gone to flip side. No, it was IBP's day. It's definitely IBP's day. Qualifier for South American teams? Yeah, for sure. Like, there definitely needs to be wildcard teams in the next LAN. Do I accept USD? Yep, I do. Alright, Zippy dude, good night, dude. Would IBP still take the LAN with Gibbs, Sad, Crow? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Main reasons for Flipside failure? I think they just weren't ready for IBP to be as good as they were. I don't think that they approached IBP's defensive strategy very well. They were all less consistent than IBP's players. Like, the IBP boys were just less phased by the stage and the crowd and everything involved than Flipside were. But we'll talk about that later in those games in more detail. How long will I be streaming? This is the second series I'm going to watch tonight. I'm going to watch 4. The LAN is the local area network. It means that you're playing against people who are right beside you on the same network connection with no ping. It's not like playing across Atlantic. Is Zero rocking Jesus? Yep. Were there any black players at LAN? Yeah, there was a bipod Flipside substitute. Will there none practice team of Jacob play on a healthy gambit beat IBP? Probably not. I mean, we saw Pluto and Jacob at the LAN. They, you know, they were okay, but they weren't as good as IBP. IBP like all played better than they do offline. I keep saying on offline. IBP played better than they do online. Have I reviewed any IBP matches already? Nope. Will Pizza Hut Esports win the next LAN? Pizza Hut Esports. Best caster? Probably still JamesBot, which is a shame because we didn't get to see JamesBot cast. But JamesBot, the thing that JamesBot is good at is he's just good at making it interesting. Man, Kings look defeated. They just need to, you know, get hyped. They're down 2-1. They need to believe in themselves. They just look so lost. They need to, like, you know, get some emotion, get some positivity.
Get into game at number 4. Flying Dutchman, as you said, looking to take this series to themselves 3-1 if they can win this game, but Kings of Urban not going to give up yet.
What are your chances of joining Flipside? Probably quite low. Probably close to 0%, Yumi.
Have to figure it out. Almost an early goal for Fireburner.
Did I like USA? USA is awesome. The weather, to die for. Incredible weather. The humidity is not so great, but yeah, the sunshine is fantastic. The food is terrible and expensive, but there were a few good places. There were a few fantastic places. So, like, we went to a Mexican restaurant, which is great. The airports are huge. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. Customs takes a lot longer to get through customs in the US than it does in the UK. They're pretty careful about who they let in. The worst caster? I don't know, like somebody who there's some casters who I've never even listened to. I just, like, you know, of everybody I listen to, like, probably Roken's casting is the casting I will mute the fastest. Like, I can't even listen to it for cringe value. It's just, I don't know, just like insta-mute. Did we get some fat American steaks? We got some great steaks at Matt Smellsworth's house. So Matt, aka Smellsworth online, good friend of mine and Marky's. Me, Mike, Marky, and Cuck stayed at his place for Monday night and Tuesday night at the LAN, and he was fantastic. Yeah, great guy. He set us up in his garage, if you will. He set us up in his garage, and we Oh, that's nearly great by Dogu. Yeah, we had a PS4 over there and a PC, so Mike Markey and Kux were practicing at his place, and he made us awesome stakes. He's really cool. Look out for him. I believe his name on my Twitch chat is Gorillionaire. Give him a shout out if you see him. He's a fantastic dude. Love him. What about the women? LA women are definitely better looking than Scottish women, on average. Top 3 team in the world. Northern, Flipside, and IBP. Oh my word.
Kings of Urban is not playing like they showed up at
Is Gibbs better than me? At what? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
Or maybe he's just trying to change the pace. Maybe that's adaptation that we're talking about. We normally see Flying Dutchman be a very counterattack oriented team. Maybe he's just going to wait for everybody to push up and then do the same.
Crow said the zero ping really helped him because of his dunking playstyle. He really likes predicting. Hey, I could definitely see that. Crow is going for a lot of dunks. That should be a goal, or at least a shot on target. What do I think about Mark's eyebrows? Well, I mean, I'm someone who's seen Mark's eyebrows in person several times, so they don't surprise me. They are what they are. NA greater than EU? Nah, EU is still definitely greater than NA. I think anybody who says otherwise is pretty foolish. Like, one LAN victory is not enough to elevate NA ahead of EU. Like, all NA have had a couple of Rocket Royales here and there, but EU have had like the vast majority of wins against NA. What the? Why is there no challenge here? Oh, Fireburner just pussied out of the challenge. He needs to go for that ball. Do I like chocolate? Yes. If Flipside IPP finals repeated 10 times, how many times do I think Flipside would end up winning the 2 best of 7s? Well, they lost the first one, so probably only like 3. 2 or 3. It was definitely IBP's day. They were on fire. To what extent would the results be different if SA made the LAN instead of TFT? Like, TFT lost to IBP and Flipside at the LAN. I could see SA giving a better fight against IBP and Flipside than TFT did, but I still think that they'd go down to the same teams. No, I've not told the Greasy story. I'll tell that tomorrow. Or like maybe the next day or the next day, we'll see. I'm going to do 4 RLCS VOD review streams. This is just the first one. Or I might just do all the stories after this, who knows, we'll see. Would you guys like that? Would you guys like me after I've done this RLCS VOD review to just do like all the stories, just talk about the LAN? In one big batch? Greasy, dude. What a guy. I love Greasy. Greasy was so emotional on Sunday night. He's like, I'm gonna quit Northern. I let my team down. I was like, no, Greasy, you're good. You're good. Yes, yes, yes. Hell yeah. Alright, let's go for it. After I've done 4... Yeah, alright, I'll do it. After I've done all these VOD reviews, we'll talk about the LAN. The LAN big experience. We'll talk about all the stories. Like in chronological order. Because I've got a good memory. Yes, and upload it to YouTube. Alright, dude. I could do that. But kaboom! Flying Dutchman. Upset of the day. Nobody saw this. Except Jesse. And Scrubkiller, actually. Scrubkiller predicted this. So shout out to Scrubkiller for correctly predicting this one. I mean, Kings just looked so defeated. And Fireburner's defense was a shambles compared to what it usually is. I think Jacob kind of did his thing. Apart from, they all missed a few shots here and there, but that's going to happen in the LAN. It was just like so weird to see Fireburner so out of position defensively a lot. And yeah, that was the biggest thing for me. Is Fireburner didn't show up. And yeah, he knows that, and I hope that he, you know, learns from that and comes out stronger.
But they made sure to not let them capitalize on those.
Yet another exciting series here at the Rocket League Championship Series International Finals, man. I can't wait.
Cool. Well, it sounds like people want it. We're going to get down onto the stage and talk to Vogan with Golden Boy down there to hear some insight on what just happened.
Thank you, gentlemen. Down here with Vogan of the Flying Dutchman, and congratulations on your victory. A lot
All right,
said
let's have a listen.
You guys would fall to Kings of Urban, yet you showed up here at the RLCS International Finals. How do you feel, man?
I feel amazing. Yeah.
I feel amazing.
Well, you know, hey, give it up for Vogan.
The emotion.
Why not, right? All right, so obviously, you know, Kings of Urban came with them a lot of hype. What was it that really tipped your guys' hat in your favor? What was it that gave you guys that advantage? What was your, I guess, your strategy coming into this match?
Well, we have this system that we always play with, and when it comes to like a LAN, the setup is just different for everyone, and everyone has to get used to it. And we had this, basically, we came home when we played with each other, and that I think that made the difference. We were just very comfortable playing with each other.
So now you guys move on to the next round here. You wait for the finish of our next matchup, Flipside Tactics versus iBuyPower Cosmic. How are you feeling going into that game? Because these are two very strong teams. Of course, Flipside considered to be one of the best, you know, the top 3 of Europe. I believe if I was talking to Gibbs, he said you guys were like ranked 9 right now in the community power rankings. So it's a tall order, but you told me just now, there was something you said. What was it that you told me, Vogan?
We're gonna win the LAN.
Woo! Woo! Oh, ciao.
Woo!
I'm off a Klimt here. Well, guys, thank you so much, Vogan. Guys, give it up for Vogan and the Flying Dutchman. Congratulations. Now let's go ahead, toss it over to our analyst to break down this incredible game.
Thanks, Golden Boy. Oh my gosh, I love when players say that.
Surprise
We're
of
gonna
the
win.
day. Ooh, Flying Dutchman. Yeah, no one expected that.
Yeah, I don't know if you could get. So now the Genesis have already lost
I
to
assume
Northern.
Dogu and Jesse probably.
TFT beating Kings is the biggest upset you can get, probably. I think.
Well, let's take a look at the Mobile One high performance replay from that set and see just how the Flying Dutchman were able to pull that
Yeah,
off.
Flying Dutchman had a lot of good counterattacks, and then the Kings of Urban, though, their passing was on point when they would score. But that's how they scored every single one of their goals, because Flying Dutchman, their defense was solid. But here's one counterattack right here with Jesse with a great dribble.
Yeah, we saw a couple of solo plays from Jesse and Vogan. In game 2, yeah, there were some good passing plays from Kings of Urban, but in game 3, Vogan mentioned that they were just comfortable playing with one another, and that really helped them in that game. We saw Kings
Would
of
Gibbs be a
Urban
good replacement for Fireburner? Probably not.
extending, and the
But yeah, Reptar, I'll be streaming later. I saw your question, but I was just listening to the interview.
Right back into Jesse for just like a dunk shot. And the shot location, too, from the Flying Dutchman was really good. Like, when they needed a shot, like, on net versus a goalie, it would be like a cross.
When you look at his, you see a focus a bit cool personality. I think it's some of his really
Tried to
personal.
go into the corner, but didn't really
Vogan's very set in his ways, I'd say.
really the,
yeah, a lot of soul.
He's got a good system that will take his team so far, but
it's time
I
to
think it
know
has
the
its
beginning of the
limits
match,
because
of
it's
course.
too structured.
Vogan is your MVP.
Oh my.
Johnny.
That scares me every time, dude. 7777777s. Thank you for the subscription.
Really well done. And Kings of Urban, they tried to be a little bit too cute with passes, but they might have needed it because Flying Dutchman.
Kings of Urban weren't being cute. They just like they were doing decent passes and missing shots. Like I love the Kings passing. They passed the ball really well. They just weren't hitting their shots. They didn't trust each other as much as they could have. Like you saw that. Like people are not ready in the center for the pass when it comes in.
this environment. Kings, you saw in the last game,
Did anyone predict IBP to be Flipside? This is how many people predicted IBP to be Flipside. You want to see? You want to see something? Actually, I'll talk about it after this. I'll show you something very interesting.
And it was just a big surprise because they've been doing so poorly online this past month. And then there's always the
Mike had the best shot of the LAN? No way, dude. Over Zero's game 4 goal against Flipside. Best shot of the LAN. No, I'm not kidding. It was next level. Just like the stage, the crowd, the situation, the game, the set, the series score, the game score, everything about that was just like, man, the stage was set, the script was written, and Over Zero played it out. It was beautiful.
It's hard to get used to a new setup, so they could make some surprises. I don't expect it, but I didn't expect them to win this either. So.
Certain days that I do the 1v1 games, I post on YouTube. I kind of just go with the flow. I like to like stream when I feel like it, and also like I just stream when it's a good time to stream, I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't really have a schedule. No. If you're looking for a schedule, I don't have one.
So we are going to see a high-profile team going out early. I think their chances are good if they can collect their nerves, because this is the lane. This is the live environment. We don't know how these players react to it. Right now, Kings of Urban have reacted.
But yeah, I can't wait for the next LAN, man. Greasy's just messaged me off stream about the next one, and I'm just so excited for it already. I'm so excited for it. Like, anybody who is thinking about, who is on the fence about going to the LAN, go to the LAN. Go to the next one. Meet people. Don't be afraid. Everybody's so chill and so nice. Just walk up and say hi. Like, I remember like spotting some people.
Next up, we have our fourth match of the day. It's going to be iBuyPower Cosmic versus Flipside Tactics. And if you're new to the stream,
But yeah, I remember seeing people at the first day, like, you were eyeballing me, and like, you know, I was like, I'm pretty sure that they want to come and say hi, so I tweeted out, don't be afraid to come say hi, and then like a few people I'd spotted spying on me came over to say hi, that was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. Really weird also for me, because it's never happened before.